And after 30 years of living, and after 3 years of public ministry, Jesus, who said that he came to proclaim good news to the poor, to proclaim freedom for the prisoners, and recovery of sight for the blind, to set the oppressed free, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor. Jesus, who taught us the Beatitudes, and who taught that he was God, found himself in a room, an upper room of a house, and he was celebrating the Passover with his friends. After the Passover meal, he picked up the bread and then the wine, gave thanks, and gave them to his disciples, saying, "Of the bread, take and eat, this is my body. And of the cup, he said, drink from it, all of you. This is my blood of the covenant, poured out for many, for the forgiveness of sins." Later in the garden, knowing all that was about to happen, Jesus prayed. His connection with God had always been intact, and now as his mission on earth was about to reach its climax, Jesus' prayers were so intense he sweated, as it were, drops of blood. Shortly thereafter, Jesus was arrested and taken to the religious leaders, who listened to what they knew were fabricated testimonies. Wanting to kill him because of the threat to their authority that he posed, they sent him to the governor Pilate. Pilate said to the leaders and the people gathered there, "I find no basis for a charge against him." It was a day of preparation of the Passover, about noon. "Here is your king," Pilate said to the Jews. But they shouted, take him away, crucify him!" Finally, Pilate handed him over to be crucified. Then the soldiers took Jesus into the praetorium and gathered the whole company of soldiers around him. They stripped him and put a scarlet robe on him and put a crown of thorns on his head. They put a staff in his right hand, and they knelt in front of him, and they mocked him. "Hail, King of the Jews!" they said. They spit on him. They took the staff and struck him on the head again and again. After they had mocked him, they took off the robe and put his own clothes on him. Then they led him away to crucify him. Two other men, both criminals, were also led out with him to be executed. When they came to the place called the Skull, the soldiers crucified him there, along with the criminals, one on his right, the other on his left. Jesus said, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." Jesus told one of the criminals hanging next to him, who believed, "Today you will be with me in paradise." At the moment of greatest agony and separation from God, he cried out, my God, why have you forsaken me?" As he drew near to the end, he said, "Father, into your hands I commend my spirit." And just before his last breath, he said, "It is finished." Jesus was taken off the cross and buried in a tomb cut out of rock. A large stone was rolled against the entrance of the tomb. The woman took the spices they had prepared. The next day, very early in the morning, as some of Jesus' female disciples approached the tomb to anoint his body, they found the stone rolled away from the tomb. But when they entered, they did not find the body of the Lord Jesus. While they were wondering about this, suddenly 2 men in clothes that gleamed like lightning stood beside them. In their fright, the woman bowed down with their faces to the ground. But the men said to them, "Why do you look for the living among the dead? He is not here. He has risen.